Yo guys, what's going on? It's Duel Unlocked here, and today I'm going to be reacting to Duel Link's hot takes. So here's hot take number one. The new box is absolutely awesome for Duel Links. The main reason? Chimera. Ridiculously cheap. You don't need to use any staples, and you can use your dream tickets on other staples, basically. Alright, also, if you did past box runs, mainly the Mortal Phoenix, you can play Raw pretty well, pretty easily. So yeah, I think the main thing here is that the box is pretty free-to-play friendly, and you get a lot of cool decks to play with just one or two box runs, and a lot of different fun decks. Obviously, I think this is a pretty cool box. It is a pretty good box, so I think people are enjoying it, but obviously Tax Dragon is a problem. Other than that, I think the box is a W. Despia is a little too strong, but the other decks are fun, and definitely can Cog. And Chimera is extremely good as well, and free to play, so I think this take is fine. And yeah, I think this is probably one of the best boxes in a while. Like, it's been a while since we had a box this good. Positive opinion? Crazy. True. I do feel like people just like to complain, to be honest. But like, honestly, this box is pretty fun, and I feel like if you're just at a point in Duel Links where no matter what they do, you're gonna complain, then it is what it is, right? Like, they could release, it doesn't matter what they release, people can find a way to complain about whatever, right? If you just don't enjoy the game anymore, you just don't enjoy the game, it is what it is. But, like, I can see Despia becoming a problem. We'll see. We'll see what we think about, like, a month from now. Is Despia still gonna be crazy? The one thing is, though, Despia doesn't seem, like, so bad, like, because of DD Crow, right? If DD Crow kind of keeps Despia in check a little bit. So, that is gonna be hot take number one. Let's go ahead and go into some more Duel Links hot takes. Here we go. Having decks built entirely around skills isn't the problem, it's the symptom of skills being way too open-ended about what they even allow you to do. So many skills are pretty clearly designed with a specific place in mind, like say free Numeron Force from Zexal, and specifically summon Utopia Ray Victory, since the entire point of the skill is recreating the moment where Yuma literally did that just in the anime, except Konami is too afraid to ever actually do anything about enforcing or at least actively encouraging said plays other than light nudging at best. It says forcing Utopia to include Utopia Ray Victory in the extract, except you still don't have to actually summon it for anything, you just have it now. So that is honestly pretty valid, I guess. About the only time I can think they actually did something as skill to make it play more like that expected is to Predaplants, except they did it in the worst way possible by not touching the skill at all, starting Venom and Invasion, and instead making it a separate one altogether, Fusion Dragon Invasion, that actually more or less requires you to use it as it is intended, which defeats the purpose altogether, because they would... anyone ever use the second one when the original version is their all-around better way. So I guess, like, the way that they can, like, give, if they want you to summon a specific boss monster, they can give that boss monster's additional effects, like, some skills, like the Star Seraph one, gives it a way to attack twice. So maybe if they did something like that, to where it would be, like, a solid option to go into it, or, like, something like that. That's the only way I can see them, like, forcing you to go into that, and even making it like a valid option. It might not have to be the only option, but like if you had a monster that could attack twice, like with the Utopia Ray Victory, give it a second attack, then people might choose to go over that instead of the other one. But that could also be way too OP, so who knows. They made this new skill because they wanted to, can't say I don't appreciate their enthusiasm. Alright, here we go. I like to see it that way, maybe I'm just overly pessimistic. Thing is, both of them being named after one half of the Starving Venom fusion and the other Sword Invasion. Alright, fair enough. Despia Burn is way more fun than Shadol. It's easier to get rid of the Masquerade than dealing with the Winda. I can agree with this one, honestly. Winda is definitely not fun at all. It's pretty toxic going versus, because it just shuts down Shaddoll warps the meta, I think, harder than Despia warps the meta. And Shaddoll takes out a lot more decks than Despia can, because a lot of decks can out one Despia Burn card. So it's not like the end of the world. So you know what? I think that's a fine take as well. I go from 4,000 to 400, believing I can even undo anything. Yeah, I mean, obviously we'd like to like nerf the burn damage a bit. Like 400, I think would have been more acceptable, but it's not really burn damage. I guess it is burn damage, but you know. Alright, hottest take. The 30 card deck size maximum is too low. Part of the appeal of Duel Links is the smaller deck size and the hyper-consistency 20 card decks. I get that. The 40 card format inherently injects a great deal of luck into gameplay, but having the deck size ceiling be so low inhibits creativity. I have found some decks where I do want to include more than 30 cards. The main reason being is garnets, right? Like if you could, and then there's like, if your deck has enough starters where it doesn't care about drawing the garnet, or not about drawing the garnets, but like where you can just, like, I guess like, there's some decks that have like 4 or 5 different starters. I could see a higher deck size, like I think 40 cards would be, maybe 35 would probably be an acceptable increase, but I don't think they'll ever increase the deck size. I could see the argument for that. Duel Links has very few engines that are compact enough so that you can use 2 entire engines. Yeah, you can, but that is kind of, you can. It's just, you have to choose very carefully which engines you want. And also play the staples that are necessary for competitive play. So if you're wanting to cook with that hybrid deck, you're pretty hard pressed to make the deck competitive. I'm not saying that compact engines don't exist in Duel Links, Invoke Physical, for example, but they are extremely rare because outside the cards, they are turned into starters via skill. Alright. Grass is not okay now, let's just ban. Also, before anyone says, but what about grass? Let me stop you there. Grass is not okay now. Let it stay banned and increase the main deck. 35! Yeah, see, 35 is right there. Fair enough. 35, I think, would be completely fine. Pendulum Zone should be a default, and Pendulum Zone skills should be reworked. I do feel like Pendulum decks would be a lot better, because in 3, that is fair, that is fair. Like, I think this could work as well. I guess the thing is, you just can't play Spell and Traps in the Pendulum Zones, right? I think that would be fair, right? As long as you can only play Pendulum monsters in them. But there are skills that do it. So, but if you're playing you can't, the problem is you're locked into those Pendulum skills. So if you want to play a Pendulum deck, that you basically have one Spell and Trap card, which can be pretty bad. I think like Magisectors and things like that definitely need the zones and could benefit from other skills. So I wouldn't mind that, honestly. Just make sure you can't play Spell and Traps in that, which I don't think you can, so fair enough. A rare normal card should be able to get Prismatic. Orcus would be great. Duel Links shouldn't be afraid to make... Okay, if you could get... do I think rare normal cards should be able to get Prismatic? I feel like that kind of turns down the Prismatic value. But you already have Prismatic tickets and everything. I feel like it would just be so easy to get every rare and normal card Prismatic, right? That's the problem. And then... I think it would like lower the value of Prismatic, so I don't know if I agree with that. Duel Links shouldn't be afraid to make new cards, even... Okay, this one... Okay, the second part... Shouldn't be afraid to make new cards, even if they don't exist in TCG, OCG. I'm specifically talking about some anime-only cards missing Orichalcos monsters that Darts used. I am so down for this, honestly. I think this should be the case. Duel Links can separate itself from the main game a little bit and just have anime-exclusive cards that would be so cool. Even make anime-exclusive archetypes, potentially, would be fun as well. Like, if we got, like, I think it's Shepherd's deck somehow. I mean, I don't know if it would be any good. They could give it a skill. It'd be fun. Like, Duel Links is all about the anime, so I don't see why not have this idea here. Alright. any hero deck where you can use Aster is always going to be way cooler and way more fun than Jaden's skill ones. But more people just sadly getting sucked into only the latter out of the ridiculous feeling of needing to follow the obligatory Jaden favoritism. I mean, I'll be real. I am an elemental hero fan. I mean, Destiny heroes are cool, but I'm always gonna be an elemental hero fan. So I don't agree with this one. Although I do agree that the skills, Jaden definitely gets way more skills and favoritism. But I think he has some of the coolest monsters, right? Like Rainbow Neos is my favorite monster of all time. And it's just such a cool, unique effect. There's so many more elemental heroes. I feel like the elemental heroes do cooler things. Like Stratos, even Stratos is an elemental hero, not a Destiny hero, but it can search any hero. You have Liquid Soldier. Liquid Soldier is another card that is amazing. Destiny heroes have some cool ones as well, like the Draw 2. But I feel like the elemental hero cards are just cooler, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. Obviously, DPE would be crazy. DPE might be the best hero card. And then, like, Mass Heroes aren't technically either of those, so it'd be interesting. But yeah, I'm an elemental hero fan. I also loved, like, one of my favorite skills was the favorite duel skill. Because you can White Princess into Flame Wingman attack. That was such a cool, like, such a cool skill. But yeah, I'm just an elemental hero fan, so I'm not probably the person, like, maybe to the average person. But I love my elemental heroes. I think they're cooler than Destiny heroes. But, you know, that's just my opinion. I do not mind if a deck that a character actually uses Heroes Utopia become meta due to a skill that the character has. One things that I like the most, honestly, about Master Duel is it being more connected to the 100% agree. I do like anime decks being, like, I think that's one of the most unique things about Duel Links, right? Is that anime decks can be top tier. And, like, decks that are never good in the TCG can be good in Duel Links. So, I mean, I don't think Utopia was ever tier 1 in, I mean, I doubt it was ever tier 1 in TCG. Heroes, I don't know if they were ever tier 1. I mean, they definitely have probably been tier 1, but, you know, all the anime decks being good, I think is a good thing for Duel Links. There's tons of examples you could do. You know what? I think that everyone thinks this, but can't admit it because the sub exists. I think this is probably the best this is probably one of the best things about Duel Links, right? All the anime decks being good and being able to play with them. I honestly agree. Duel Links is very beginner friendly. This one is actually kind of true. New and returning players get like 3,000 gems and the ability to redeem campaign codes from all the people who spam them. I mean, depends on what you could definitely build a new meta deck. I think the only problem is you would need to know, like, I guess if you go into the newest box, you'd always have a good deck. But it's kind of hard to tell what a good deck is in the beginning, right? But you can definitely get enough gems to build whatever deck you want. Unless it's like Strikers or something crazy expensive like that. Or that you have to go into tons and tons of different boxes. But there are a ton of free-to-play decks you can build. If you like do a little bit of research, you can definitely get a good deck and have fun. And then just save gems until you want to go in for another deck. I think that is valid. But yeah, it also could be like if you're a Striker fan and things like that. It's fair. Rush duels are more fun than speed duels. This one has a ton of upvotes. I think they're both fun, to be honest. It just depends, right? Some people might not be into it. Might not be into the Rush format. I enjoy both. But I don't know if I would say... I feel... You have to experiment with both. I don't think this is necessarily true for everyone, right? Like, for me, I probably still enjoy speed duels more. But I don't mind rush duels. So also the metas are changing in speed and rush duels at the same time. But it is cool that there is a pretty big rush community as well. Depends on the meta. Other times the meta is tier 0 guy. It is also the new trap. I think is gonna make the rush meta more interesting. So we'll see. I definitely think Worlds is gonna be very cool. Speed duels. Okay, honestly, this isn't even a hot take. Speed duels are worse than any Master Duel format. I'm gonna hard disagree on this take. We don't have Max C. We don't end on a million. Like our boards aren't end on like a million negates. You can win going second. I mean, you can in Master Duel too, but it's not like it's definitely common to win going second. Skills help a lot going second. There's a lot. I mean, there is a lot of deck variety and probably I guess there's more deck variety in Duel Links than Master Duel. So I'm gonna disagree on this take. The duels are fun. There's no negations, hand traps. Oh, for rush, yeah. I mean, I can see why people would enjoy rush more as well. Like, but I'm gonna disagree about any MD format. No, I'm not gonna. Maxi and Ash Blossom and all those hand traps can stay away. Zodiac would be 100% fine to add to this game. Let's see. I mean, what does Zodiac even do? I mean, it depends if it's like full power. I guess we don't have Zeus access, so maybe. Dryden is pretty good. Would you get 3 Dryden? Is Dryden once per turn as well? That's another thing. I'd have to take a look at that. Zodiac, Trident. Once per turn, you can also see summon. It's not once per turn. It's not hard once per turn. So it depends. Like, if you gave Zoo 3 Tridents, then that'd be a little insane. But I mean, if you guys gave him like 1, I think it probably would be fine. Because popping, if you get end on, I'm sure they could probably end on 3 Tridents pretty easily. Then that's 3 pops. That's a little excessive. I'm making sure. Is it once per turn? Once per turn. You can also see summon card gains once per turn. Yeah, like you could just end on 3 Tridents. So full power Zoo with 3 Tridents. Let's see. I don't know. Like 2 years, but 2 years ago it was Zodiac without Barrage. Okay. I'm only 75 hours in, and as a free-to-play, I'm having a great time. I've only finished my Rush Duel list so far, but I've got a lot of very playable speed duel decks too. They just aren't meta yet. They just aren't meta yet. I'm just finding the resource curve and event rewards to be perfectly reasonable, but I suppose it's possible I just haven't hit the free-to-play wall yet. I'm a Yuki Boomer too, though, so my opinion might differ. I'm perfectly fine with grinding duels for dozens of hours to pull bad decks with the worst odds ever. That's what we had back in the day, so it just feels normal to me. Gem rewards for ranked aren't worth the time investment. I feel like you're not really playing ranked for. I mean, I feel like you play ranked just to have fun. Like gem rewards are like kind of the bonus. There's a certain point. Getting King of Games, I think, is. I mean, is it worth the time investment? Maybe not, but 200 gems is 4 packs. It's not terrible, and then like every rank up as well. But I feel like they're more bonus editions. Like it's not the main way to get your gems. So I could see that. If you're just grinding for gems, and it's definitely not the most efficient way to get them. But you get other things. You get keys from ranked as well, which you do need to grind gems. So you do have to play some ranked. But you don't have to. You could just wait daily and refresh. But this take here, hard disagree. Selection boxes are fine. No, they're not fine. No. I think the problem is when there's a card that's like so meta that it puts a hard barrier between those who have like multiple copies of them and doesn't. Like Nibiru it wasn't as bad on release, but it did become like somewhat like I don't know how to explain it exactly, but things like Forbidden Droplets when that came out, it wasn't like these cards aren't like super like they weren't super great on release, but they became super important to get. So I think when there's cards that are like so insane that it's like mandatory to get, and you need like 3 of them, then I think that's a little excessive. Like things like Goddess is like a one of. It's okay, but like when you're not guaranteed the card, I would say selection boxes would be okay if you could get at least one run through with gems complete. Even if you have to spend 200 gems on each one, I think that would be fine. But the fact that cards are locked into pay to win, no. Hard disagree on that take. Nightmare Mermaid could be unbanned even if they leave Ibly as it is. Orcus can't compete with this level of yellow button power. I mean, the problem is you can also run Orcus with yellow buttons and skills. So, I mean, if you keep Orcus unlimited, like if you, it's just okay, I guess. Maybe. It just depends, like, where do you have all the Orcus cards still? Orcus can compete with this level of yellow button. And then Ibly... I think the problem is that Ibly... Some decks just can't play around it unless you open the out, like a Book of Eclipse, I guess Droplet, Dark Hole, things like that. Because their skills restrict them from summoning things. So I don't know. I think it's possibly fine, but I still wouldn't want to see it. Put Orcus in literally anything. Yeah, that's fair. And deck diversity. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Blue Lock isn't as strong when multiple skills can use it for the activation. The only problem is that some skills can't, and then some skills are completely locked and can't do anything. And a lot of skills need your opponent to have a monster and you to control no monster. So it would turn off a lot of skills, so that's interesting. The game is not free-to-play friendly to old players who are still playing. I will say this again, the game is not free-to-play friendly to old players who are still playing. I mean, it just depends, right? What are your goals? If you can basically build any deck, like if you're going in for every box and everything like that's just not an option. So it's not 100% free-to-play friendly. Selection boxes and stuff, obviously. But if you're only going in for certain boxes, saving up for decks that you like, you should be able to get the decks that you enjoy if you play enough and grind a little bit. But I do see the point of there is a point where once you've maxed out every single character, the gems are a very finite resource. So I can see this point, to be honest. Not truth takes. Yeah, how am I supposed to build it? Yeah, exactly. Once you like have every stage mission done, every character max level found and clicked, like, yeah, good luck. Exactly. Like, yeah, you just kind of have to wait for like new worlds. Duel Links is more fun for me now than ever before. Duel Links was my first introduction to Yu-Gi-Oh! Until the announcement and introduction to Master Duel, I knew almost nothing about deck building strategy, and I still thought MST negated. I left the game when Master Duel came out, and and then I had to adapt, learn rulings, and new modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Functions. The better I got with Master Duel, the more the low-power formatted Duel Links became less and less appealing. I've seen a lot of people calling this game Master Duel Lite as an insult, but I honestly enjoy the change. I feel like the way people complain about skills isn't any different from how people complain about decks in Master Duel. That can play through 3+ disruptions and keep going. The only main gameplay difference besides the PvE and PvE content are that skills can't be reacted to, and the game is nowhere near as free-to-play friendly. That is 100% true. Master Duel is the more free-to-play friendly game. The first one is completely valid. The second one is also valid, but there are also ways to keep up with the meta somewhat true. Like, you can keep up with the meta without spending money. Agreed. So they're enjoying Duel Links now with the new, more than ever before. Uh, I feel like it just depends, right? Are you into, like, if you're more into high-powered formats, then that makes sense. But some people enjoy Duel Links for being less powerful. So the closer it gets to Master Duel, I guess some people will enjoy that, while other people won't. So that's a fair take. I think this game is really fun. That's how to take that just the experience. Of course, it's fun. They should add a generic skill version of anti-skill. At least once per duel, you should be able to stop gigantic contact. Asparoba exists, that's true. You can negate some skills, but not all skills. So there's a little bit of a difference. It's easier to unlock characters in Rush Duel than in Speed Duel. I mean, I guess that's probably true. Skills can be solved with the one line of text. The opponent's life points cannot drop below 1,000 any turn you activated the skill. What about, I don't know about that one. Droplet needs to be limited to at least 3, but preferably to 1. In Duel Links, thanks to skills, it's basically a free Dark Ruler with no downside. With our lower deck size, the chance of getting it going second is way too high. Droplet needs to be at least limited to 3, but preferably to 1. I don't think they would limit a UR to 1, especially a selection box UR, so that's wishful thinking, but I could see the argument. The problem is, Droplets is one of the only cards to deal with boards, right, going second. So if you take away Droplet, then I think that would be... It probably would be more harmful than beneficial. But I could see why you'd be mad about it. But still, I don't think you can really do that. Maybe a limit 3, but then it collides with the other card to outboard, which is Book of Eclipse, so be interested. Gemini monsters are easier to use than Reincarnation Link. I'm trying to use both, and I'd still rather use Red Eyes Archfiend and Red Eyes Impact compared to Salmon Great Helio and Sunlight Wolf. So this is just saying that Gemini monsters are easier to use than Reincarnation Link. I mean, Gemini is a very easy deck, so I could see that. Burn decks are annoying, but allow back and forth play. Having the game in hand in one turn is just awful and boring. Skills that search the deck starters shouldn't be a thing. I mean, I don't know if I agree with this one. Being able to search the starter is fine. Maybe like even returning a card to search the starter. Duel Links is about consistency a little bit, so I kind of think that's fine. There's a lot more things to complain about with skills than that. One of the coolest things in Duel Links. I do like generic skills. I did hate Floor Skill for a while when it first came out, just because it was like Ding Turbo and all that. But like now it's completely fine with all the... I feel like the floor used to be insane. Now it's acceptable power level. Heartbeat of Hope, things like the what's the other one? The other Xyz one. I forget what it is, but the one that summons the one that not summons, but gets that spell card. Overlay Xyz or Overlay Control, I think. Odeon Trap Burn with Peak Duel Links, everything since or before. No. On this thread. Yeah. The game has become free-to-play friendly, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Players don't know how to save money in gems? I think this one is somewhat true. Some people just like to go into every box and get every card. But you can, I think saving gems, you could be pretty in, like, just choosing when and where to go into boxes is probably fun. I think the second part of skills is really interesting in fixing the going second problem. And I do like the going second part of skills that help uh, deal with the going second problem of Yukio. So I honestly agree with that one. Besides a couple of sections, speed selection boxes are interesting even as a free-to-play player. I mean, I can see the argument. I think the problem is just, once again, if they have a insane card that's like a 3 of that is meta defining, I highly would not want to see it. If you could go unlimited gems, 200 gems per box, then I would say it's fine, but I hated it being paywalled. The skills are currently fun when it's unbalanced in the game are the OP cards that the meta decks use that alone would Winda, Tax Dragon, First Dark Lord, Dweller, the Floodgates that can be used, Nibiru, Book of Clips. Limiting these cards will make the meta, well, Book of Eclipse is already limited. Winda is probably the #1 option here that I could see. Tax Dragon, also annoying. I don't think you can really get rid of Dweller. If you get rid of Dweller, I mean, it would make some decks insane. Because the only thing stopping some decks is things like Dweller. Because can you imagine Shaddolls without Dweller? They would go insane every time. For like even things like Chimera and all that kind of stuff. So, like, Dweller might be a necessary evil. Maybe if you could limit it to like limit 1. But it's still like one of the only ways to stop a lot of different decks. Utopia Speedroid are both way better than current Despia. Their turn 1 is basically unbreakable. I mean, I think Utopia is really strong. Especially because people are all going to be playing DD Crow in this meta, and Utopia doesn't care about it. So I could see Utopia. I think Speedroid hasn't done as well recently compared to a lot of other decks. The next ban list is near after the unlock. Should have kept it at synchro level. I mean, Xyz is probably fine. And then I think pendulums are probably, it's always pendulums where I think most people leave. Synchro's fine. But Link's definitely, but I think eventually they had to get to it. It's literally about the Yu-Gi-Oh anime, right? And the anime has pendulums, links, and all that. So you're gonna have to have it eventually. I'm sorry. People saying the game fixed red. If anything, I don't want to see it. Okay, interesting. The game needs an effects limit per limit to 5. No. Okay. A digital format is a good way to run old and otherwise power-crept cards into something that fits their original playstyle. Interesting. Converting gold into things like gems or skill chips should have been a thing by now. Alright. Character events are mostly terrible. At least make a card pool for... some of them are okay, but I'll agree for the most part. Have been healthy for the game overall than generic skills. Back in the day, we had search any card, free, mulligan. The good generic skills were never used to make new good decks because people would use them instead. Use them to make good decks better, leading to more restrictive metas to the point you were playing the meta deck, your base and also meant okay, so I think with over-reliant skill decks, if they need to change this power level, you can change the skill, leaving more safe ban lists. Okay. So they like skill more than that. Alright. Probably not. Locking exclusive cards to high level. Yeah, okay, this one I think there should be a way to get just the cards. Like maybe, I don't know, this is kind of crazy, but maybe like once. I wish there was a way to get to like the max level cards without having to grind them all the way to max level. Because like a level 45 card is very insane to get. Like the amount of grinding you need to do to get it is crazy. So I definitely understand this take. Hey, True Nate could come back to Duel Links and it would do nothing. Okay, think I have to disagree with this one. Just all the, like, Shadow specifically, they probably end on 3 back row. If you force one, okay, if it's unlimited, Hatronade would just completely annihilate all back row. It's just basically better MST. Not better MST, it is better MST. And it's not even... It bypasses things like Resonators, protection, like... It's basically... Hatronade is crazy. Like, I think you underestimate it, because back row can be protected from things like things that can't be destroyed, but it would bypass so much things, right? Resonator back row could be removed, Shadol's, anything that ends up more than 2 back row, Hatronade is crazy into. So I think it would definitely be insane, and if it's unlimited and all the good decks have it, I think it would be a bad idea. Because it deals with too many threats. Let's say your opponent has like an insane hand. They have Book of Eclipse, Droplet, and like another back row, 1 Hatronade, and then you have your Go Second skill. No, do not add Hatronade. Like, imagine Speedroids with Hatronade. Oh no, please, no. And the more I think about it, please don't bring Hatronade to the game. Rush Duel's skills are worse in the game mode than Speed Duels. I'd rather play 1,000 times against a Despia player than a Shadol or Ancient Gear. I could get the argument for Shadol. I also get the argument for Ancient Gear. Ancient Gear is very annoying because they have like their Floodgates going first and then going second. They're insane. So it depends on what deck you have. But I definitely understand the argument for that. But yeah, that is going to be me reacting to the Duel Links hot takes. Let me know what you guys think. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, remember to hit that like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.